Hey everyone, it's me again. It's Thursday. Crap, what day is it? I don't even remember anymore. With how many things to do I here, and I don't even know what day it is anymore sometimes. 30th. God, that's a big wonder. Anyway, it's May 30th, Thursday, and I went back to the museum with the group for class that I went to Tuesday that I talked about in my video earlier this week, and it was pretty much the same, but the main thing that was different was afterwards we went down to like the shopping-y area of Ueno that's, interestingly enough, under the train tracks. Like there's Ueno Station, and it's a relatively big station in Ueno, obviously, and there's a lot of parts of it that have the train track over lots of big roads and big like alleys and side streets and stuff. So all the people who live there have a lot of their shops and a lot of their vendors underneath these trains. Like the train tracks, and then they're under it. So you can hear the trains go by. And it was just very interesting. It was it was very Japanese I kind of liked how my professor worded it. He says it's a very Japanese experience. That it was very close together, and I don't know. It didn't seem touristy, at least not as much. I mean, it still kind of was, but relatively, it seemed more catered toward like actual Japanese people, and it was quite interesting to see all these different shops and all these different places just kind of existing together in such a way. Like there was so many different people, and it was just, I don't know, it was just really kind of weird. I've never heard of this type of setup where they're all like under the train and they're all in these tight little streets. It was just kind of interesting how they built it under it. And it was almost like its own little microcosm of little shops and people going through and kind of doing whatever. And I don't know, it just seemed very interesting to me how that kind of ended up working out, or they planned it that way. I don't really know, but I thought it was interesting. And while we were there, we were discussing, like I was just talking to my professor when we were eating some food, and we were discussing commercials and how wacky and interesting they are in Japan. And he brought up an interesting concept to me that a lot of, well, I'm not sure how many, but I heard it's, some actors from the United States don't make commercials in, a lot of them, none of them make commercials in the United States because it's seen as kind of beneath them in a way. Like they're not really supposed to be profiting from doing something like that. But apparently some of them make commercials in Japan while being an actor in the United States, so people don't really know about it. Like, he showed us one where I think it had Brad Pitt, like a relatively young, I think it was Brad Pitt, I'm not really sure, it was kind of hard to see the other person. And it had a sumo wrestler, a Hawaiian sumo wrestler that was here like back several years ago. And it was a commercial for SoftBank, which is like, obviously a bank around here, but their whole like thing was about how they would kind of help you no matter what. But it was kind of funny, like the sumo wrestler just like shoe broke, and then like Brad Pitt's character like picked him up and like carried him to where he needed to go. So it was kind of like over the top-ish, but I just still found it interesting that they have like our actors do it. And I don't know, I just find it interesting that we as people from the United States see that as something bad for actors to make commercials. I never really understood that there was a stigma to that, but apparently there is, which I find quite fascinating. 'Cause, they're already, putting on a persona for money on movies, being actors. So what's the difference between that and making commercials for money and pretending to be something for money on television? I don't know. I don't really understand the difference between that. And I guess the Japanese don't care and don't think there's a difference because they hire them. And it works. I'm assuming. I mean, they advertise because it works. But I just thought that was interesting. I never knew that beforehand. So I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. But either way, the commercials here are very interesting. I don't know. Maybe I don't pay attention enough to the commercials back home in the States, but I don't know. They're not really wacky. They're not really funny. They're just like, here's product. Here's a product. Well, the Japanese ones are really confusing sometimes. Sometimes you don't know what they're talking about or what product they're advertising. Like, I can't even remember. There's been so many of them. I can't even remember a specific one that would kind of fit into that category. But, like, there was one, it was about, like, a drink. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, like, a beverage you could get at, like, some restaurant. Like, it was, like, a freezy type drink. And it had this Japanese girl who had, like, this, like, platinum blonde dyed hair, all this makeup, and this, like, J-poppy music, and she was kind of, like, making all sorts of weird faces, drinking from this drink, and she was like, oh, and I was just like, I just had no idea that this was about a drink until the very end, when they're showing this drink. And I'm just like, what? I was just, it was just really confused, and it happens more often than not here. And it's like, and I almost feel like even if I could understand the Japanese that's being said in the commercials, I feel like I still wouldn't understand what's happening. I don't know. I just found it very, very interesting. There's a lot of commercials where it's like, some of them, even though you can't understand Japanese, you can kind of tell what they're doing. But some of them you're just like, you don't have any idea. There's no real way to, like, even try to guess what this commercial is. Or even what it's about. Or sometimes you know what they're advertising, you're just like, I don't understand how this is supposed to make me want to buy it. But, I mean, I guess they have a different way of advertising. Maybe it's more of a shock and awe factor, maybe? They try to kind of shock their people, their consumer base. Kind of, give them, like, that shock to their system, I guess, to try to make them buy it. When ours try to be informal and try to hook you, I guess. I don't know, I guess it's like a different formula for what they're trying to do to advertise. And I just think it's interesting how there just seems to be a big difference between how they advertise certain things. Like, certain ones are the same. Like, they have ones where they have, like, children singing. Like, there's one about water or something. But I just think it's interesting how it's different enough that it's kind of just confusing. But, yeah. But alas, not much has really happened lately besides talking about commercials and seeing parts of Ueno, which was pretty cool. Oh, and yeah, for anyone who cares, I got another fortune today, and apparently it's a good one. Because Tuesday, I went to a temple in Ueno and got a fortune. Apparently it was bad. Like, nothing you do will work out bad. I was like, oh, but I got another one. I don't know what it says, but apparently it's good. So I'm going to find that out. And, yeah. But either way, it's been a long day, and, well, I guess I'll let you go now. But it's been good talking to you guys, and I will see you next week, Monday or Tuesday, and I hope you all have a good day, or night, or whatever time, because most of you watching this are from the States, and that's a 13-hour time difference. So, yeah, whatever time you're watching this, hope you have a good one. Later.